back to the Best of Movie Show right here on YouTube.com. Well, this is our part of the show where we get into some nitty-gritty news of what's going on in the movie biz.
Yeah, you know, every week, every day, there's always new stories. A lot of them are a lot of like, you know, you get a lot of the Marvel stories, the comic book stories, the Star Wars stories. So it's good to see some news stories each week, and hopefully it's not a lot of the same stuff.
Well, the first one we'll start out with is Ghostbusters is a go, and they're going to have the leading ladies.
Yeah, remember, we talked about this in a past episode of the Best Day Movie Show. The rumor that they were going to do a female Ghostbusters, and I told you, I said, I'll be honest with you, I like the idea. I like the idea of a female Ghostbusters. When do you get female characters in an action movie like this?
You don't need it.
And you know, they were talking about trying to do the Expendables, you know, for the Expendables. A spin-off of the Expendables. Get all the action females to do a movie together. Well, how about now we're going to go and do comedy. We're going to get a comedy theme that was popular back in the 80s, Ghostbusters, and put all female characters. And me and you, I thought, a friend of ours named Bob, we were sitting there at the screening tonight, and I thought, you know, me and him were saying, hey, yeah, how about Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Melissa McCarthy, and Kristen Wiig as your Ghostbusters? Tell me that ain't a fun group of women to do Ghostbusters with. Now, Vinny's got a smirk on his face. That means he don't like it.
No, because three of them people are like Kristen Wiig. She's the dumbest comedian I've ever met in my life. I mean, she's just horrible.
I love her. You gotta see her in Skeleton Twins.
And Tina Fey, I mean, she makes me want to drown myself in a bucket of water.
Really?
And who else you say? Melissa McCarthy?
Yeah.
She's too fat.
She's too fat. And Amy Poehler.
Oh my God. Another Dutz. Another Dutz. Also,
so you rather have gone with the student idea,
yep,
where there were students of Dan Aykroyd or some of the members of the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, keep it simple. Keep it the way it's supposed to be. Don't go off in some fartsy artsy. Oh, let's bring in these girls and do this shit. Do it on your own time. Don't ruin a franchise. Well, they've gotten the writer from The Heat, Katie Dippold. Is that right?
Dippold.
And the writer, which is the co-writer.
Oh, oh God! Now you're putting me on the spot.
Paul Feig.
Paul Feig. Oh yeah, this is a really good writer. This guy's written movies like Bridesmaids, The Heat. He's really coming along in the comedic movie writing right now, and he's right. The Bridesmaids wasn't a movie; it just had a few characters. It had a lot of characters, a few different plot lines going on. So I can see him being a really good writer for Ghostbusters 3. And he's worked with Melissa McCarthy twice, Kristen Wiig twice.
Well, Robert Downey Jr. was interviewed twice this week, one by Ellen DeGeneres and one by David Letterman, and he's going off the record at saying that he might be doing more Marvel movies than we expected. You know, he said back in the past that he was only going to do up to the Avengers 2, and then he said he was going to do Avengers 3. Now he's coming out, he said he's going to do Avengers 4. And he's not only saying that he doesn't know where it's going to stop. He's going to roll with it and see how it goes.
Well, okay, the first thing was he gets on Ellen DeGeneres, and she kind of basically pulls it out of him by asking him, is there going to be an Iron Man 4? And he basically said yes. Then he gets on Letterman and says, no, there is no script for Iron Man 4. There is no Iron Man 4 right now. But I am doing other things for Marvel. My guesses are he's going to be in the next 2 Avengers. He's going to make a cameo or maybe a substantial role in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Maybe he might be on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Maybe he might, and he alluded to maybe how much he likes Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where he would like to do a cameo on that. Probably as Tony Stark, not as Iron Man. And my thing is, I think there's going to be a spinoff. I think there's going to be an Avengers spinoff, and I think Tony Stark and Iron Man is going to be the leader of the West Coast Avengers. That's my opinion. I mean, it's a surprise, but who knows? You just don't know. But I think you're going to see a lot more Iron Man. I think he finally is embracing the fact that he is Iron Man, he is Tony Stark, and that people want to see him in this role, and he's not getting any younger. You know? And the thing is, you could put anybody in the Iron Man costume. You don't have to put Robert Downey Jr. in that costume. He could just play all the Tony Stark scenes. You know? You could just do a couple scenes where he's got the mask. He takes the mask off and it's his face. He doesn't have to do all the action or nothing. And if he's just Robert Downey Jr. playing Tony Stark, he could do that for another 10 years. You know what I mean? And it's not a lot of work to do that.
No, not at all. Jeff Goldblum has gone off the record and said that they're still in status and script development for Independence Day 2.
Yeah, well, I think what they're trying to do is they got Bill Paxton on board now. They got Jeff Goldblum on board, and they're writing the script and they're going forward with it. And I'll be honest, you could replace Will Smith with anybody. Look, they did it in Transformers. They put Mark Wahlberg in Transformers. Shia LaBeouf had been the main star for 3 movies. You could put anybody and replace Will Smith. You could put Jamie Foxx. Look, we know he's done his fair share of action movies, and he's funny to watch and stuff.
I just feel like the idea is dead.
Independence Day.
I feel like they've already lost. I feel like they have lost their timeline. The first one came out in '97. I mean, we're almost a decade and a half into the second one.
Well, the thing is, it came out, and I think when it comes out, 2016, it's going to be 20 years. It'll be 20 years to the day, or it's going to come around 4th of July. It'll be 20 years to the day that Independence Day came out, and so it'll be 20 years. You're going to come back to a franchise 20 years later, but the thing is, they all over that time, we took all the parts of the spaceships. We took all the technology and we used it to come up with defenses. So if the aliens come back, we have a way to defend the aliens now. Because we have the guns, we have the lasers, we have the defense systems, all that stuff. That's what, quote unquote, some of the plot is going to be. So that makes sense.
I still feel like it's a dead deal. Also, X-Men TV series they might be bringing the X-Men to Fox with the Quicksilver, maybe a rumor in it. Also, they're trying to make this Marvel universe to where, you know, they have kind of like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know what I mean? Like they have the
X-Men and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are different.
No. But what I'm saying is they make the X-Men films. But then now they're going to do a TV show, just like the other one. They're doing Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, and Avengers, and they have the spin-off of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And Agent Carter come out in January. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. One of the best parts about X-Men Days of Future Past was Quicksilver, and he's got a little sister. We know who his little sister is, so it's interesting to see how those characters will work into future X-Men movies.
Don't you have some other X-Men news too?
Yeah, this is a story that's pretty depressing, if you ask me. Marvel owns the rights to the Fantastic Four, and they own the rights to X-Men in comic book and in animation only. 20th Century Fox owns the rights as the movie. So now, come to find out this week that Marvel is canceling the Fantastic Four comic book, and they're killing off Wolverine in the comics. And I think that's just a slap in the face to 20th Century Fox, because they said, oh yeah, you don't want to give us back the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, so what we'll do is we'll kill the characters off, and we'll cancel their books. And that's really pathetic on Disney/Marvel's part, and sadistic and really nasty kind of business, if you ask me, Marvel. Just because you want the rights to those characters back, you know, it's a good world that Marvel, Sony, Fox get to make movies of these characters, because you guys, Marvel and Disney, can only make so many movies a year. By having X-Men and the Fantastic Four with Fox, we can see more movies. Spider-Man with Sony, that's more movies. People don't understand that. If you have all these characters with the same company, less movies are being made, which isn't fun for me.
Also, on that same level, the Spider-Man thing going on now.
Oh, okay, well, this is huge news. Marvel/Disney is in negotiations. Now, this is speculation.
From the mouse.
If you follow the thread of this back to where it came from, it was a very, very unreliable source that said this to somebody, then they wrote it. And so that's the kind of stuff you can't be really solid. That's not solid. But Marvel /Disney is in negotiations with Sony to bring Spider-Man into the Marvel Universe. That doesn't mean Marvel is going to own Spider-Man. Spider-Man is going to be a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Sony's still going to own the rights to Spider-Man and Spider-Man's characters. That being said, we talked about this a while ago on one of the episodes. Sony is $2 billion in the hole. Not because of Spider-Man. Spider-Man made $800 billion this year. The first one, not billion, $800 million this year. First one made $1 billion. It's their other products. They sell music equipment. They sell laundry stuff like washing machines and dryers. Sony does lawn equipment. They do so much. That stuff is losing them money, and that's why they're in the hole. So the thought of Marvel going to Sony at this time.
Did you say Sony does lawn equipment?
Well, I don't know what else they do. They do a lot of things. Sony cars, I think they're involved with cars.
I was going to say, I've never seen a Sony lawnmower.
No, maybe not. But there's a lot of things that Sony makes. There are other departments. What happened? But this is the time. If Marvel's going to go and make a bid to get Spider-Man back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, why not now? When Sony's vulnerable, And even though they won't own Spider-Man, they'll be able to fit him into their movies and hopefully give some advice to Sony not to put so many hands in the freaking soup, in the pot. Because I feel like they're too handsy. And let the filmmakers, the writers, the directors do what they do best.
So what you're telling me is there's too many chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah, there's too many chefs when it comes to Spider-Man and Sony. Marvel, they're much more hands-off. One guy does all the main. He hires the people. He hires a director. He hires a writer. And he makes sure the movies fit to what Marvel is doing in their cinematic universe.
I'll tell you what it is.
What?
It's that damn mouse.
They're better. They're smarter.
That damn mouse wants to cheese.
They're smarter.
Everything.
They're smarter. Look at Pixar. Look at Star Wars. Look at Marvel. If you look at the way those people, companies, they have one guy. He's in charge of each one of those. Or in Marvel, in Star Wars, it's one person, Kathleen Kennedy, and I feel like they let that one person handle it, and Disney doesn't get involved in all that.
We gotta find something, and maybe you guys out there as viewers can help us out. How can we take the cheese away from the mouse?
Oh.
If anybody can answer that question, I'm going to give you a prize. Go to thebestmovieshow.com and give us your best. How can we take the cheese away from the mouse?
Well, Rupert Murdoch tried to do that. He tried to buy Warner Bros. For $80 billion. Or $80 million, and Warner Bros. Said, nah, no thanks.
Well, moving on from the mouse to The Purge 3 is moving on to a third movie. They're doing good, man. I'm telling you, they're taking over Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. And the second one did really good. I'm excited, man. I'm really excited. I know my girl Veronica really likes The Purge, and I like The Purge.
Well, I didn't see the second Purge yet. I'll be seeing it soon. It'll be coming out on DVD or Blu-ray. I'll be getting that. And from what I heard, it was better than the first Purge. But the thing to remember about The Purge, and in case you're not watching out there, The Purge cost $9 million to make and made over close to $110 million. So if you're thinking, why they keep doing Purge, these movies stink, or whatever, I don't like it, guess what? They are dirt cheap to make, and they make a lot of money. And the second one was different than the first one. I feel like you could do so many different things with The Purge because it's one day a year. You could do all kinds of different things with it. I don't believe in the concept of the Purge, but I understand why they're making a new Purge, and I would keep making it as long as it keeps making money.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And The Purge, great movie. If you haven't seen the first one, the second one, go out and see them. Great thriller, horror movies. Keeps you on the edge of your seat. It makes you think, though, what would happen if you had 24 hours of no police or fire department or any medical attention. It just makes you think. Also, Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks being filmed Coen Brothers script for Cold War thriller.
Yeah, we heard this a little while ago, but it's the Coen Brothers. You put Steven Spielberg in it as a producer. Tom Hanks. I heard Josh Brolin's on board. Coen Brothers, Hanks, and Spielberg together on something. Oh boy, look out! This has got Oscar written all over it.
Yes, it will. Yeah, I think it. I think it is. I think it's going to be good though. I think Spielberg and Tom Hanks, they've done Forrest Gump, and that turned out real well.
He produced, Spielberg produced Forrest Gump, but he directed Tom Hanks in Saving Private Ryan and the one, The Terminal. Those are two movies that he directed Tom Hanks. And Catch Me If You Can. 3 movies he directed Tom Hanks. 3 movies.
Well, also this week we know that season 6 of The Walking Dead was renewed. And I don't know what this is about. Maybe you can help me out. It's a show called Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks.
It's being renewed for the 2nd season. Now, what is Twin Peaks?
Okay, Twin Peaks is a cult classic TV show that came out 20-something years ago. And it was on CBS. And it just had this really crazy ending to the show. And it was like a murder mystery show. Every episode, you get clues to the murder or what went on. It had a lot of weird characters, and I guess they're rebooting. Twin Peaks, and it's going to be on Showtime. So I think it's going to be much more violent, much more gritty, probably some nudity, cursing. You could do a cult classic show like that if you're going to redo it. A cable network like HBO or Showtime, I think, is a good. Kyle MacLachlan, he was the star of it. You've seen him in a lot of different shows lately as characters.
Well,
it's a David Lynch produced show. It was.
I hear you.